Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm super excited you could be here because today we're talking about one of the most important things in business, which is sales. And if you are a real estate agent, or if you're thinking about jumping into real estate, you're going to really love what we're going to dive into today because we're going to talk about one of the most proven methodologies to be able to go out there and attract customers and then actually keep them as loyal to you where they come back again and again. And by the way, even if you're not interested in getting into real estate or already are, you're going to still see this as a guide to be able to succeed in sales. Everything you're going to learn today is really the proven formula for building trust, building rapport, and basically getting customers to kind of come to you. So you're not chasing them, trying to convince them on why they should do business with you. So with us today is Vikram Deol. Now, Vikram's story is one of overcoming obstacles and achieving remarkable success. Growing up, he faced doubts about his potential, but his unwavering belief in himself and his entrepreneurial spirit propelled him forward. Early on, he showcased his ability to think outside the box and find creative solutions, and these experiences laid the foundation for his future mastery of sales. Now, just 17, Vikram's sales career launched with a bang. His impressive performance quickly established him as a rising star in his industry, and over the years, he continued to excel, leading high-performance teams and venturing into various different businesses. Now, this journey wasn't without challenges, financial setbacks, personal struggles, and healthcare tests his resilience. However, he remained focused on his goals, proving that anyone could achieve great things with hard work and dedication. Today, Vikram leverages his experience to help real estate agents break free from frustration and stagnant sales. His proven TRIS method, trust, rapport, influence, sales, empowers agents to build strong relationships with prospects and convert them into loyal clients. Now, Vikram's program goes beyond extensive lead generation tactics. It focuses on developing essential sales skills, creating efficient processes that maximize productivity and results. And by implementing his strategies and systems, agents are then able to achieve consistent sales growth, work smarter, and finally break free through the plateaus. If you are ready to overcome the challenges, develop essential skills, and achieve consistent success, well, then I think you're going to love this because Vikram's experience can make a significant difference. Vikram, thanks for joining us today.
Bro, that bio needs to be shortened by about 300 sentences. I'm like, I tell my team, I'm like, hey, let's make a bio. And my gosh, well, I appreciate you reading that whole thing. Like, I'm sorry
Well, I
for all
looked
the
at it.
listeners.
It was relevant. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just interrupt you. And I
Yeah,
absolutely
you're good.
I looked at it and I thought, every part of this I think makes sense because part of your journey and overcoming what you've done is what makes you a master of what you do now.
Yeah, man. In 2021, it was just straight vulnerability and no holds bars. 2021, I've been in 6 different industries, and I started getting into like the personal development world after I retired from real estate. And lo and behold, there's certain things that transfer over, but there's a lot of things that we think, one of the things that people say when they lack the proper skills is, well, I come from a sales background. It's like, well, then why are we here on this call? Right? If you come from a sales background, why are we here on this call? Because what we have to start realizing is that there's certain things that transfer and there's certain things that don't. And there's basic communication skills, like foundational soft skills, which transfer. But then there's a lot of things that are very industry specific that don't. And in 2021, I was talking to one of my mentors, Sharon Srivatsa. He's actually the sitting president of Real Brokerage right now. And I said, dude, I just don't know how to make a sale anymore. And he's like, well, that's not true. I said, no, man, like everything I know no longer works. Like I went from real estate to the health and wellness space, then to the kind of personal development coaching training space. And I said, it just doesn't work. He says, you haven't learned how to take what you already have developed and implement and apply it into the new world. Ty, bro, my brain exploded. I got credit cards that are maxed out. It's during COVID, right? Our business was shut down. We were a year into a new business. We just started to build some traction, but if you've ever done a brick and mortar, The contractor says it's going to be 100 grand. Well, $600,000 later, you're still not done. You're the contractor. You're cutting drywall at the middle of the night. You're putting in lights in the middle of the night. You're the one painting. Mom's going to Home Depot with me. And I'm like, Mom, can I borrow your car? She's like, honey, it's probably time you get a truck again if you're going to be a GC. Like, I'm like, Mom, this isn't the flip days. This wasn't supposed to happen. And she's like, honey, I'm just teasing you. Like, let's go to the store, figure it out. And we started to get some traction. We figured out the sales process for the health and wellness business. It's a membership based business. And then boom, COVID hits. We have to repivot again. And it's just like, man, this is not going to make any money. Like there's just no money to be made here. We're selling memberships. And I remember talking to Sharon and I go, dude, there's so much money to be made in personal development because helping people is when you solve big problems, you get big checks. I said, I just don't know what I'm doing. And I went out and I hired Jeremy Miner. And I went out, I hired another sales coach. One was more on the tactics. The other was more on the soft skills. How do you open people up? Right? Because if you can open up listening, you open up hearts. And one of the biggest problems that salespeople have, especially in the real estate space, is they're so busy trying to qualify the prospect, they never actually get to know the prospect. And in 2021, my credit cards racked up. I had to borrow 80 grand from a friend, right? And I said, hey, dude, he's like, what are you going to do with the money? He's like, I'll give you what you want. You want 80, you want 100, you want 500. He's like, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. He said, but what are you going to do with it? I said, 40 of it's going to go to get me under like breathing. He's like, all right, so you're just going to basically use that for living. I said, yep. He goes, what about the other 40? I said, I'm going to go hire a coach. He's like, who? And I told him the 3 people I was looking at. He said, all right, go sit down with every single one of them, interview their salespeople, but you're interviewing them to see if you like their skills and style and their processes. And then the person you resonate with the most, go hire them for a year. I was like, all right, did exactly that. And knock on wood, things have picked up, but a lot of people are scared. Like the biggest thing in sales, right? The biggest thing in sales is that people are there for a change. Whether they're trying to buy a Lamborghini, they're trying to buy a house, they're trying to buy a new TV for the living room because they want to watch the movies with their friends. They want to show off, hey, I got the latest and greatest 92-inch. I don't even know what size TVs are anymore, but like I need the latest and greatest, right? Houses, people say, oh, well, why would somebody want a 6,000 square foot house and go to a 10,000 square foot house? Well, maybe the doctor up the street just built an 8,000 square foot house. And now everybody says, oh, look at his house, look at his house. And you have an ego because you were picked on like I was as a kid. And now you went from being the cool guy because you never dealt with your childhood trauma. So now you went from being the cool guy to not the cool guy again. You're like, oh my God, this is just like the quad where I was walking by myself for 2 years with no friends. Well, I need to go build a bigger house so that I get all those people back. And that's the keeping up with the Joneses is actually keeping up with childhood trauma, right? But everybody wants change, but nobody knows how to find problems. So like, if we can learn to be problem finders instead of qualifiers, the world changes because people start to buy from you and you don't have to sell them anything.
How do we make that change? What do you think is one of the first steps to be able to do that? Because I think most people look at a sales process as a sales process. And from them, from a salesperson's perspective, rule number 1 of sales, I always say, is that you spend too much time with people that will never buy your product. A lot of times they don't qualify. So from what I see with our sales team, they're concerned about qualifying because they know that somebody that doesn't qualify is, I don't want to say it's wrong, but it's not worth their time to move forward and present. So that's what they're trying to get to, right? So how do you go from that mindset to actually then trying to discover and root out the real problem as you're saying?
So obviously you have to have a qualified person financially, right? In real estate, like the first thing people say though is, what's your timeline? Right? Well, people don't know what their timeline is because buying a home is complicated. So if you ask somebody, like when I sold Cutco knives, if I told Mrs. Jones, hey, what's your timeline on buying a new set of knives? She's like, I don't know. But then when I go into my mom's pantry and I go into my aunt's pantry and I go into my friends' parents' pantries, I see like the cheap blocks of of knives from Costco just like stacked on top of each other. And I'm like, okay, so they're not making conscious buying decisions. They are in the moment. Mom's cooking, knife breaks, mom's cooking, knife is dull. She goes to Costco that day. She's like, oh, there's a sale on these cheap knives because she doesn't know the difference because she's uneducated on the process and what good or bad knives are. She's not going to go spend $1,000 on a set of knives because like she doesn't know the value of that. So she goes to the grocery store, buys some meat, goes to Costco, buys a block of $100 knives, which is no big deal. And she does that every year. So in her closet, she's got $900 in knives that she doesn't even know she's got. And she's like, well, no, babe, honey, Vic, I don't buy knives. Like, I don't need these things. Like, you want to go call my friends, go call them. But then when I do a proper presentation, everything changes. If we, if we, if we think about the intention of our conversation differently, it changes how we show up to the conversation, right? So like empathy and being heart-centered, which I believe most entrepreneurs are, but we get stuck in this like old school methodology of sales training. And so the first thing is like, my intention is connection. So how do I connect with this person on the other side of the phone quickly? Right. And it's just like when you said, hey, Vic, how you doing today? I'm like, oh, I'm just the boring guy. You're like, well, it doesn't look like you're super boring. And I'm like, no, 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 no. What's going on in your world? Right? What's up with you, Vic? Oh, just working away at the coffee shop. They don't let me out of this seat for 12 hours, but what's going on with you? I instantly put the focus back onto you, right? I don't ask how you doing. I don't ask like how your kids are. I don't ask about the weather, right? Because none of that's really relevant in a 15-minute triage or qualifying conversation. What's relevant is why are the people there? Like, why did the people raise their hand to talk to you guys at Credit Suite? Like, what was the reason there? Well, their credit's low. Okay, well, we probably can assume that the credit's low. But what's the actual reason they're there? Well, maybe they want to buy a house. What is the purpose they want to buy a house? So we go into assumptive mode instead of like curiosity. If we can always assume that we know a lot about the industry, but we know nothing about our prospect, it allows us to stay in curiosity. And when you're in curiosity, you're like the little kid that's like touching everything, right? I was at dinner last night. I had a date cancel on me. So I was like, I'm still going to go to this dinner by myself. I don't care. And I'm going to post on Instagram that I ordered like everything that she would want to eat just because I was being petty. And so that's exactly what I did. And I'm sitting there by myself, and there's this little girl, probably 18 to 24 months. The world was new to her. The parents had been to this restaurant a dozen times. You could tell they knew the menu, but the world is new to her. And she's looking around and she's like, oh, and she's pointing and she's touching and she's super curious. If we can bring that childlike curiosity back into our conversations. Now, Ty, can you help everybody who comes through your door? Probably not. Financially, you probably can't help everybody. But if our intention is to get to know them on a deep level, why they've raised their hand, and then our intention is that we know that we're not going to help everybody, but we're going to leave them better than we found them, you'll start to get, your people will get referrals from these people that they can't help, but they're going to be like, oh man, that guy was awesome. Sally, I know you're in the same boat that I am, but you're making more money than me. Go talk to these guys. Like, these guys are awesome. And so the curiosity and the intention and the tonality allow us, real estate's a little different in 2024 than it was in 2021. 2021, people were chasing realtors down. 2024, nobody's chasing realtors down. So now realtors actually have to go out there and have connection conversations. The other challenge for real estate agents right now is that interest rates are what? 7%, 6%, 8%, depending on what you qualify for, depending on the loan product, depending on the price. Prices are up since 2021, 40%. but they're up since 20. I was looking at some flips that I sold back in 2011, 12, and 13. I'm doing a presentation later. I was looking up some flips. The dumpiest, crappiest, junkiest house we ever did, we sold for 274. It's worth 827 right now. There's no way that these people can ever move, right? They're going to stay in that same community. So why would they leave this house? Well, I could tell you why. It's a split level. There's no backyard. It's a weird layout, right? There's 2 bedrooms upstairs, a family room and a kitchen, huge bedrooms, 2 masters. And then downstairs, there's a big bonus room and 2 weird bedrooms configured downstairs. So like, it's not really conducive for a family, and it's not like a great home for children. So the only reason they would move is if you could help them see the pain of having a home like that as these people age. If you can't find the pain, they're locked in a 3%, 2%, 1.5% interest rate. They probably have the house almost fully paid off if they haven't refinanced it. They don't want to go to a 7% rate. They think that the rates are going to come back down. So the only way to get somebody to move is not to be like, hey, Ty, so what's your timeline for moving? How many bedrooms do you want? Well, I already got 4. I don't really need more than 4. Okay, well, then where do you go from there? But if I'm like, hey, Ty, tell me about what made you, like, tell me, like, I'm curious, what caused you to raise your hand and even start thinking about new properties in the first place? Now you get a real response from the person.
Sure.
Now Ty's like, well, my wife and I have we're getting older. We're thinking about a ranch. We love the house has been great, but it's starting to have some problems. The morons who renovated and flipped it and sold it to us did a horrible job. I don't know who that guy was, but contractor Vic was not very good. And we just don't want to deal with that downstairs anymore. The garage is located in the front of the house, so we have to walk outside up a steep pathway. It's just really like, it's scary for my wife. She's got a knee issue. She slipped the other day. It has nothing to do with the bedrooms. It has nothing to do with the location. It's the fact that the wife slipped coming up the stairs because it's a steep walkway. It's the fact that you have to go up 11 stairs to get to the front door, and you have to come down 11 stairs. It's Seattle, Washington, not the greatest 9 months out of the year. Oh my gosh, your wife slipped? Yeah, she slipped. Did she? I hope she didn't get hurt. No, she didn't get hurt. Tell me a little bit about why she slipped. And now he's going to tell you, well, the driveway's here, the garage is here. There's no way to make this different. So she has to leave the driveway, walk up the stairs, go out the front door. There's no side door. There's no way. It's on a hill. There's no way for you to get from the garage to the house. So she has to go all the way out through the gate, up the stairs. It's always wet. We've already put like the sticky pads and all this stuff. We've tried to grade it. It's like, man, how long have you guys been having this problem for? And I label it as a problem. I use the word, well, how long has this been a problem for? Well, it's been a problem for about 5 years, but now we're slipping. Now we're falling. Now she's actually scared to walk by herself. Oh my gosh. That sounds a little stressful. Not very stressful. That sounds a little stressful. No, it's super stressful for me. I'm constantly worried that she's going to slip. She also has osteoporosis. Oh my God, what does that mean? It means if she slips and falls, she could bust open her hip. Oh my God. Well, we don't want that. Well, no, I don't. So why is it important for you guys to make a change now, though? Well, because like we have $650,000 in equity. We can sell this house for $850,000. It'll sell in a week. So where should we go? I think we should go somewhere warm. I got some friends everywhere. What part of warm? And now you connect them as a resource to people across state lines or wherever they want to go, right? But you have the osteoporosis, you have, and people like, well, nobody will ever tell you that. They will, because my intention is connection, not sales. My tonality is empathy, concern, and curiosity. I'm serving them. I never ask them if they're qualified. I never ask them when they're ready to move. I said, how long has this been a problem for? It's been a problem for 5 years. But when did it really become a big problem, Ty? Well, it became a big problem about 6 months ago. What happened 6 months ago? She slipped and fell. She sprained her ankle. So why is that a big deal? Right? So the layers, we go deeper and deeper and deeper, and then we hit them with what's called the game plan frame. See, where most agents want to send you to a lender to get qualified, what I want to do is I want to sit down with you and your wife, Ty. I want to get belly to belly. I want your kids there at the table. I want the whole family chaos there. Because when I say, so guys, would you want a new house? Oh my God, I hate Sally. She's always in my bathroom. And the chaos just rips through the room. And I look at Ty and I look at Sally and I go, well, you guys probably don't want to move because you got a good interest rate, don't you? And she's like, no, bro, get us out of this. This is every day. And I'm like, seems like it's fun. Like, this seems super enjoyable to me. So somebody give me some popcorn, give me a beer. And they're like, Vic, we have to make a change. Are you sure? You get a 2% interest rate. No, we have to make a change. I'm like, all right, kids, go away. We got some work to do. We'll call you back when we need a little bit more. And the kids are like fighting with each other as they leave the table, like poking at each other, going into the same room, yelling and screaming. Floors are bouncing up and down. I'm like, how long has this been going on for? They're like 3 years. I'm like, why haven't you guys done something sooner? And they start telling you their excuses. Well, we're really busy at work. So now you can start to prevent the objection, because you're like, okay, so like if we start looking, how do we do this? Because you guys are still busy, right? They're like, no, we're making this a priority. I'm like, okay, so what are we going to push off the plate for the next 3 to 4 months to make sure this happens? They're like, every Saturday morning we're dedicating unless they have soccer. Cool. So Saturday mornings are our showing days. Yes. What about Sundays? After church. Awesome. And you build out their game plan. But if you don't get belly to belly, you never get there.
So Vic,
I know I just talked a lot. It's like
no,
my
that's
bio.
okay. I think you've touched on several of these things, because you have this great method, and I think I pronounce it right with TRIS, but it's trust, rapport, influence, and sales. So how does this, and you've touched upon several things, I think, within this, but what makes this so much different than the conventional methods that everybody's using, especially agents are using now?
So the conventional method, especially pre-COVID, it's qualifying. It's ask them, what's their timeline? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Are they pre-approved? And if you found them like the perfect home, would they buy in the next 90 days? If those aren't all marked yes, 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 what the typical agent does, and we have a call center in our company, Sheridan Street, and we review anywhere from 100 to 500 calls a month. Out of those 500 calls, 100 to 500, we found that 92% of teams don't ask for an appointment. 96% of solo agents don't ask for an appointment. So when you're talking to a person, like if I'm talking to you, Ty, ring, ring, you answer.
Hello.
Hey, Ty.
What's up, Vic?
Hey, man. My name's, well, I guess I popped up on caller ID. I'm Vic. I'm a local real estate agent. Looks like you are looking to buy 123 Sheridan Street over there in Tampa.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. When do you want to buy it?
As soon as I can. I'm not really sure about buying it or not. I don't know enough to make that decision.
Oh, are you pre-approved and qualified with the lender?
But yes, yeah, I am. My friend's a mortgage broker. I already pre-approved.
Okay. Okay. You're one of the rare people out there, right? If I don't know you and I ask you those questions, your sales resistance is already up.
Right.
Right. When I said, when are you ready to buy the house? And you're like, you started to backtrack. Conventional methodology is be excited. I call it happy puppy, right? It's like you get a prospect, you're just like shaking your little tail. You're such a happy little puppy. You're like, right? And you call them up. Hey, Ty, how's it going? I'm John from Zillow, and I want to buy your house. Right? Like speakers are exploding right now. People's brains explode. And then it's like, how many bedrooms do you want? What's the neighborhood, right? Those are all qualifying questions. Those are questions you should be asking in a sit down, face to face, belly to belly meeting. The reason why people ask that question isn't because they're trying to connect and learn. It's because they're trying to put you on a drip to send you properties, and they're hoping something will pop up that Ty and Sally and Susan and the kids like. And then you're going to call me up and be like, hey, Vic, I saw the property you emailed me. Can we go see it? Traditional methods are not about connecting and presenting and educating, which we say it's a relationship-based business, but where's the relationships at? The relationship only comes when you think you're going to get a paycheck. We sat down with every single buyer in 2012 to 2018. We sat down with every single buyer that we ever wanted to work with, not to qualify them, to educate them. After we educated them, then we qualified them. And we did $250 million in sales. We outsold everybody in the neighborhood. We spent a lot of time sitting down and meeting people who weren't qualified. And then I would send them to the right people to get qualified. And then they would come back to us, or they would refer people to us because they're like, you guys actually care. And so if we never change our thought process about qualifying customers, we're never going to get an appointment. And then when you do a presentation, right? Again, most people are doing presentations to talk about themselves. No, the purpose of the presentation is to really find the problem and then share the solution. And then what's in it for them? I call it the PSW framework. Find the problem, share your solution, talk about what it's in it for the prospect. Because now they understand why it's valuable. And then after you do that, you do a tie down question, which is, would this be something that you would want? How do you see this helping you? How is this valuable for you? And if the prospect doesn't say it's super valuable, guess what happens? You're going to get an objection at the end. So the traditional methodology is location, price, motivation, right? It's this thing called like LP Mama, location, price, motivation. But people don't understand that motivation doesn't mean their timeline. Motivation means is, oh my gosh, your wife slipped. Oh my God, the kids are out of the house. So you're in 6,000 square feet. So like, why is that a problem? It sounds like you guys have a party house now. No. We don't want to maintain it. It's costing us thousands of dollars a year. We want to go travel. We want to buy the RV. Like we want to get a smaller home closer to the kids. We have grandkids now. Grandkids where? Right. And they're just sharing how long have you guys been wanting to do this for? Well, I've been retired for 2 years now. Oh, congrats. So we said when I retired, we would start looking into it, but then grandkids happened. We got busy. Okay. So why is it important now though? Or why is that actually important for you now? Like actually, and now though triggers them, but you're going to qualify people, Ty. You're not going to get over like in our line of work where we're doing Zooms and we're doing outbound calls, there is a qualification component before you transfer them to somebody else. And that's a process, right? So you ask them qualifying questions, you still connect with them deep because then you have great notes. And then you would say something like, yeah, now like, obviously for if you're concerned about qualifying, yeah, like, so, there's going to be obviously some investment necessary to get you from point A to point B, right? Typically it's about X amount of dollars. Is that something that you guys would be able to find the resources to get started with us? Or do we need to first, before we move to the next step, should we first kind of like troubleshoot how to get those resources so that we can make sure that we're serving you the best? And it's just a quick triage call in the real estate world. the question that I would ask if somebody's thinking that the person's unqualified is, so, hey, Ty, like when you guys purchase your next home, are you guys thinking more about like pulling cash out of like savings, 401ks, family going to help you? Or are you guys going to need some financing? And like, well, and then they're going to tell you, well, our credit's not really good. We're a little short. We're this, we're that. Tell me a little bit more about that. Well, our credit's 450. We got about 10 grand in the bank. We owe about 50 grand in credit cards. So we were trying to figure out, like, we want to buy a house, but we don't even know where to start to get our credit repaired. Well, hey, I got a guy for you. I got a guy for you that'll help, right? Hey, I got a guy for you. Hey, right. So now if you sit down and have a meeting with them, which isn't a bad thing, right? Especially if your calendar is not full. Now, when you have a meeting with them, you're not talking about house. You're going to go in with a, hey, here's what you need to do step by step. Here's who you need to talk to get your bills under control. Here's who you need to talk to get this under control. Is there a way that you can pull a second job so that you can make a little bit extra income so that you can get a little bit more savings? This is what we would need for the proper program, right? And you being a master of your trade, you guide them the right way. And guess what? Poor people know rich people. And the poor person is going to say, hey, my friend Ty is looking for a house. Ty, you should talk to Vic. Here's what he did. And you're going to see the plan that I built for you. You'll be like, damn, bro, you did that for somebody who's not qualified. What are you going to do for somebody who is qualified? Let's sit down and talk to my family.
Vic, I love this method, and I can see how it helps you stand out. It also helps me realize how many of us, not just in real estate, but in general in business, have been doing things backwards or the wrong way. We could go probably on for an hour about this. I know we just scratched the surface, but where can everybody go if they're interested in talking to you, learning more about basically doing more transactions and doing it the right way?
Yeah, man, super easy. Instagram, my name, Vikram Deol, Coach Vikram Deol, Vikramdeol. That's the easiest way to find me. If you're not on Instagram, go to Facebook. Otherwise, like if you're not on either one of those, I don't know, get on one of them. We have a website, Sheridan Street. But I like to actually personally reach out to people as much as I can that follow us online and just do like a virtual handshake and say hello. So that's the best place for me.
Sounds good. Thanks, Vic, for coming in today.
Appreciate you, man. Have a wonderful one.
You too. So listen, if you're listening, watching this, you just want to make more sales, whether you're in real estate or not, you want to check Vic out. And this is the easiest way to do it. You can actually go right to his website too. Hopefully, Vic, this is okay. And
Yeah.
it's just his name.com. If you go there, all of his social media links are right at the top. So I'm going to spell that out for you right now. So it's Vikram, Vikram. And then his last name is Deol, Vikram Deol. So again, that's Vikram Deol. If you go there, then you're able to schedule a consultation. You're able to learn more. He's got, I think, an academy where you could be able to learn more of some of these things. All those things are disclosed there. But at the top right, you can also access the social media links. So you can go follow his tips and training, engage, and then actually have a consultation call right with him to see what he can do to help you basically fix what you're doing. It's interesting because if you already are talking to X amount of people now, and you just tweak what you're doing, you go from doing it the wrong way to doing the right way, right? Going from this qualification to understanding this TRIS system or trust system, then what happens is now all of a sudden you're doing the same amount of work, but you're making a lot more money and helping a lot more people. If you want that result, then make sure you check it out. VikramDeol.com. That's VikramDeol.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day.